We live in a world that sees solitude as a punishment. We have been taught that being alone is sad, that every silence must be filled, that whoever spends time alone does so because something is wrong with them. And that is why many people are terrified of it. They flee from themselves by turning on the television, grabbing the phone, seeking company at any price. But the ancient Stoics knew something the modern world has forgotten. Solitude, when chosen, is not weakness or sadness. It is one of the greatest sources of power there is. In those moments alone is where you know yourself, where you recover your strength, where you think clearly, and where you stop being a reflection of others to become yourself. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, the great men of history, deliberately sought solitude because they knew that in it everything else is forged. In this video, you are going to discover 6 reasons why the strong choose to be alone, and how solitude rightly understood can become your greatest ally. Not to isolate yourself from the world, but to return to it stronger, freer, and more yourself. Stay to the end, because the last reason changes everything. Let us begin. The first power of solitude is that only in it can you find yourself. Surrounded by constant noise, voices, screens, and other people's opinions, it is impossible to hear the one thing that truly matters, your own inner voice. We live so accompanied that many have never spent a moment alone with themselves without distractions, and that is why they do not know themselves. The Stoics sought daily moments of solitude to look inward. Marcus Aurelius wrote that man seeks refuges in the countryside or on the shore, but that there is no refuge more peaceful than that of one's own soul. When you find yourself alone and switch off the noise, the answers that the bustle was hiding begin to appear. You understand what you truly feel, you remember what you wanted, you tell apart what matters to you from what only distracts you. Solitude is the mirror where you finally see yourself without masks. That is why so many fear it, because in the silence they can no longer flee from themselves. But whoever learns to dwell in it discovers a treasure. They know themselves, and the one who knows themselves is much harder to manipulate or to lose. Seek a moment alone each day. In that silence, everything else begins. The second power of solitude is that it teaches you not to depend on others to be well. Many people cannot bear to be alone for a moment. The instant they find themselves in silence, they grab the phone, call anyone, seek company at all costs. And that constant need for others makes them fragile, because their peace always depends on someone else's presence. Whoever cannot be alone is, in reality, never fully free. Seneca wrote that we must learn to enjoy our own company, because only then do we stop begging for that of others. When you learn to be alone without feeling empty, something powerful happens. You stop needing people and begin to choose them. You no longer cling to just anyone out of fear of solitude, but calmly pick who truly deserves your time. That gives you an enormous independence, and independence is the foundation of all strength. The one who is self-sufficient cannot be blackmailed with abandonment nor controlled with approval. Your happiness stops being in others' hands and returns to yours. Learn to enjoy your own company. The one who is happy alone is free everywhere. The third power of solitude is that in it you recharge your strength. Constant contact with others, however pleasant, wears you down. Conversations, noise, demands, the small social tensions slowly consume your energy without you barely noticing. And if you never stop to be alone, you live in an underlying exhaustion you cannot trace. The Stoics understood the value of withdrawing. They knew that to act well in the world, you must first gather yourself, order the mind, and replenish your spirit in silence. Solitude is that space where you do not have to give explanations, or please anyone, or hold up any mask. You simply are, and you rest. In those moments alone, your mind reorganizes, your emotions settle, and you return to the world with more clarity and more calm. It is not selfishness, it is maintenance. Just as the body needs sleep, your mind needs moments of solitude to recover. Whoever never gives themselves that break ends up irritable, scattered, and empty. Learn to reserve moments alone without feeling guilty. You are not fleeing from people. You are recharging to be able to give your best. Solitude, well used, does not isolate you. It gives you back whole. The fourth power of solitude is that it lets you think clearly. In the midst of noise and everyone's opinions, it is almost impossible to know what you truly think. Other people's ideas mix with yours. The pressure of the group pushes you, and you end up confusing what you believe with what you are expected to believe. Only in solitude, far from the din, can your mind order itself and reason truly. The great thinkers of history, the Stoics among them, sought retreat to reflect. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations alone, in silence, ordering the chaos of his head onto the page. In solitude, you can examine your decisions without hurry, see your problems with perspective, separate the important from the urgent. The best ideas, the wisest decisions, rarely are born in the middle of the bustle. They arise in those moments of calm alone in which you can finally hear yourself think. If you have an important decision to make, do not make it surrounded by noise and crossed advice. Withdraw, be alone, give your mind space. In that silence you will see with a clarity that noise will never give you. Solitude not only knows you, it also makes you wiser. The fifth power of solitude is that it frees you from the need to follow the herd. The human being is a social animal, and that has a dark side. We tend to imitate the majority, to think what everyone thinks, to do what everyone does, just to fit in. Whoever never separates from the group ends up living a life that is not entirely their own, but a reflection of others. Solitude breaks that spell. When you spend time alone, far from the constant pressure of others' opinion, you begin to tell apart what you truly want from what you have simply been told you should want. The Stoics valued this independence of judgment enormously. Seneca warned that nothing gets us into greater troubles than adapting to rumor, believing that the best is what is most accepted. The one who dares to be alone dares to think differently, and the one who thinks differently can choose their own path instead of following that of the mass. It is not about despising others or isolating yourself out of pride. It is about not diluting your judgment in that of the crowd. Solitude gives you the space to hear your own voice above the chorus. And whoever knows how to follow their own voice does not get lost in that of others. The sixth and final power of solitude is to understand that chosen solitude is not sadness, but fullness. There is an enormous difference between solitude and feeling lonely. To feel lonely is an emptiness, a lack, the pain of missing something. Chosen solitude is exactly the opposite. It is the richness of enjoying your own company, of being with yourself and feeling complete. Many people confuse the two, and that is why they flee from any moment alone, believing that being alone is something sad or a failure. But the Stoics knew that the man who has built something solid inside is never truly alone, because he has himself. You become your own refuge, a place of calm you can return to when everything else goes quiet. This does not mean rejecting others. Whoever enjoys their solitude also enjoys good company, but no longer needs it to fill themselves, they choose it to share. And that is the difference between the one who surrounds themselves with people out of fear of the void and the one who shares their life from fullness. Learn to be alone and to feel at home with yourself. When you achieve that, there is no solitude that can hurt, because you have discovered that the best company there is, the one that never abandons you, is you. We have walked through the 6 reasons why solitude is power together. In it you find yourself, you stop depending on others, you recover your energy, you think clearly, you free yourself from the herd, and you become your own refuge. If you notice, they all point to the same thing, that the most important relationship in your life is the one you have with yourself, and that is built only in solitude. It is not about isolating yourself or rejecting others, but about learning to be with yourself without fear, to enjoy your own company to the point that you no longer need anyone to feel complete. When you reach that, you become free, because you stop begging and start choosing. Start little by little. Reserve a moment alone each day, no screens, no noise, just you. At first it may be uncomfortable, but soon you will discover in that silence a calm and a strength you did not know you had. As the ancient Stoics did, learn to inhabit your solitude, and you will never feel truly alone again. If this video added something for you, give it a like and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every night. And remember, the one who knows how to be alone is free everywhere. See you in the next one. Take care.